From the creators of Grey's Anatomy comes another exciting show. This one's on ABC, How to Get Away with Murder. We're going to talk to one of the stars of the show. Charlie, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I want to get right to the show. A lot of folks may not have seen it, so we'll have to start at the beginning. And Charlie, just get ready a little bit about your character, Frank, and how he kind of fits in the universe, and then we'll talk more about, kind of the behind-the-scenes dynamics. It's a very interesting show. Viola Davis from The Help is in this. She stars as the main character, and you're kind of an assistant to her. Kind of fill everybody in on how that works.
Yeah, Frank Delfino works for her directly. She keeps a very small world. She is a huge defense attorney and only has two associates, one of which is me. And I do sort of behind-the-scenes work for her, more of a PI guy as opposed to a lawyer, though I do a lot of legal work. Frank lives in a bit of a gray area, but I think a lot of the characters on our show do. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, and he likes this world, and he likes working for Annalise. He is just a Philly street guy made good because he's bright and he's effective, and so he found himself in this world.
I know they're trying to come up with the perfect match of how to describe the show because it's got so many different dynamics. It's not really a true legal show. It's got such a mysterious nature to it all. Have you come up with a great way of trying to explain the show?
I just tell people, I think at the root of it, it's a thriller. It's a murder mystery and a thriller with just fantastic characters driving the story. It's fun, exciting. A lot of people tell me like they watch it and they can't sleep because you get kind of a buzz from the show because it just moves so fast and has so much happening and it's so suspenseful, which is not exactly a short answer, but that's how I describe it.
Well, I think you're hitting on the good thing, and it transitions right into the next thing. I think I wanted you to speak to this because the best way I can explain this is where Shondaland has found the success again with another great show. Is this one really taps into moral dilemmas, and I think in our human nature, that's where the show really hits us the hardest.
It does. We really explore a lot, and what you have is an entire group of people who are sort of ambiguous morally. There's no hero. There's no good guy. We're real people. We're real, flawed, complicated people who are finding themselves in dire situations. There's been a murder. There have been two murders. We defend murders. This is murder is part of our daily lives, and we have to try to find a way to maneuver in some way, shape, and form with that going on around us.
Frank finds himself already into also having to deal with some social drama and this relationship with Laurel and all that. Can you speak to that a little bit about what's been going on and maybe even a little bit of what might be ahead?
Yeah, I can to some degree. Yeah, Frank leads with his heart in every situation, which can be good and bad. And yes, he has some feelings for Laurel. We'll figure out what exactly his intentions are as we go on. And actually, in tonight's episode, tonight's the 5th episode, and that storyline is going to take a step forward tonight.
Oh, that's exciting, folks. You heard that first. Tonight's episode 5. This is How to Get Away with Murder on ABC, and it is a great show. I love it. Just you don't get to hear sexy suspense legal thriller very often.
No, you don't. You don't. And that's part of the fun of the whole thing. It's really. It has a tone in and of itself. I really honestly don't feel like there's anything else like it on TV.
Well, it's got a great ratings, off to a great start. We really wish you the best of luck with that, and I'm glad that it's doing so well for you. But, it's hardly the only thing going well for you. I love this, and there's no pressure at all, Charlie. I know here, TV Guide calls you hottest men of the fall TV. No pressure. No. How'd your mom and dad feel about that?
I don't know. They get a laugh out of stuff like that. My dad will email me that kind of stuff, making fun of me, which I enjoy tremendously. But no, it's fun. It's a fun part of the whole thing, and pretty funny.
Any press, good press. Just have a good time with it, right?
It's good press. It's a good time.
That's fantastic. Well, you've got a great track record with a lot of great shows, great roles. People might know you better from, you were Mark on 90210, you're Ben from Buffy. Of course, you were Jay on Everwood. I actually prefer that one of all three, by the way, not to criticize your other work, but that's the one that I...
No, thank you. No, everybody's got their taste. I've been so blessed to be doing this for some time and have been on a lot of great shows. I've been really lucky.
Do you have? Well, let's do this. How about if we compare the fandom? So we'll get to the Buffy fandom. Is the fandom like from 90210 compared to the other stuff? Is 90210 still got that big cult sort of thing? Is it sort of like very iconic, or is this the second reboot just didn't catch as much fire and it didn't really have that kind of response for you?
They're pretty loyal fans. They're really, really good fans. And they are lovely when they contact you on Twitter. They say the nicest things, and they're great. Buffy fans, that's a whole other deal.
I was keeping that separate.
You know, like I said, 90210, it has every fandom has its tone, and 90210, they're very loving, open, and they want. And then with Buffy, there's a lot of collecting, and they care a lot, and they really do care. But they love their stuff. You know, I remember signing a guy's poster, and it had it had almost every character that was ever, you know, someone on the show, someone of note. And I was one of the last autographs he needed for this poster, and he was so grateful and so thrilled. And it was amazing to be able to do that for somebody, and to have fans that care that much about a show.
Have you had downtime where you're able to go to like one of these conventions or something where they do that kind of stuff?
You know, it's not really my style, but I did go to one. I went to London Comic-Con several years ago, just because I wanted to go to London, and it was, and I had a blast, and the people were great. The fanfare that's a whole thing. Those
That's a whole different beast.
Crazy.
Yes.
I had never done one, and it was nuts. It was nuts, but it's really, really nice to meet all those people.
Well, and it just really goes to show how passionate people get about their shows, how emotionally involved they get. And I do think, folks, that How to Get Away with Murder is going to be another one of those shows. We're seeing this obviously with the huge numbers that ABC is already pulling because people are very excited about it. Now we're on episode 5, and you know, as Charlie's previewing here, we're going to see a lot of character development, a lot of characters change as the season progresses. And Charlie, as you look back, I mean, obviously you talked about, you know, doing this for a while, got a couple great roles under your belt and that kind of thing. Is there some one person or somebody that you met that kind of shared some words of advice or wisdom or anything like that you still kind of hang your hat on a little bit?
You know, over the years you pick up little pieces from actors and people behind the camera, producers, directors, and you just kind of collect these little things that people say that every now and again something resonates. I can't say there's one thing. There's just been a lot of things, and all swept together. It's a pretty vast collection at this point after all these years of little tidbits that people share with you, and it's exceptionally helpful and really a nice thing to have.
Has there been that one person that you've met, that crazy story even that you might be able to share with us where you're like, oh yeah, that was pretty awesome?
And it's recent. I mean, there's been a few along the way. There's been some great ones, but just the other day, Denzel Washington came to our table read, and I just a table read. You know what that is? It's just what it sounds. We're reading through the new script, and I turned around. I heard Viola say "Hey" to in a very friendly voice, and I turned around and she was hugging Denzel Washington. And he is one of my favorite actors of all time. I love him. I love his movies. And it was sort of it's rare. I could count how many times I've been starstruck on one hand in all these years, and that was one of them.
I tell you that you're not the only one. We did an interview with one of the cats that's on The Equalizer with him, and when he met him, Denzel says, "Hey, what's your name?" And all he says is "Good morning." So after that, his nickname the entire shoot was the "Good morning." So I think Denzel's having that effect on a lot of folks.
I'd be in the same boat. God only knows what I would have done in that situation, and to work with him, God, that'd be a whole other thing to deal with. And that, and I really took a beat with Viola. I mean, I was taken aback so slightly. I was really prepared to go in and work with her. And I met her, and she was so lovely, and that was such a great thing. But when we did our first scene together, I enjoyed that. I took a beat to enjoy that because that was a career-changing moment for me to work with someone that I had revered for years. So yeah, it's been a pretty great year as far as meeting people that I admire.
how do you go about balancing all of this and your personal life and all that? What are some of the things that you like to do and kind of unwind? Because obviously it's a busy schedule. We've covered enough on this show for most of our folks to understand how, each week, this whole episode thing, every week, and sometimes you're probably not getting scripts in. Can you say how often you get scripts in advance? How week to week are you on Murder?
Not very long in advance. We've caught up. We're on a little mini break right now because they picked up the rest of our season, so we have a little time to play with, and we're all just taking a breath and relaxing, and the writers are getting a little ahead of the game, and so we should have a script several days before we start shooting the 10th episode. But it doesn't come to you too soon. That's why you have the luxury of sort of living as this character from episode to episode, so it kind of falls into place very quickly.
Awesome stuff. Hey, Charlie, give out your Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. We love social media.
All I have is a Twitter. I'm at @CharlieWeber, and that's all I've got.
That's enough, most likely.
Yeah, that's enough.
When you have 90210 and Buffy the Vampire Slayer on your resume, that's probably enough in and of itself, let alone all these great projects that you have coming along since then.
It's fantastic. It's been amazing to get the new Buffy fans. Netflix has really changed things, and for people new generations loving that show has been a real thrill.
And that's pretty cool too, because I think Netflix it changes the rules because you'll have that every so often, probably about every 5 to 8 years. Another group of people will discover it. Another group of people will discover it, and that's kind of how it's going to be forever. Because unless they yank it off of there to go through some crazy DVD surge or something like that, people are going to binge watch this stuff forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great stuff. And Charlie, it's great a chance to talk to you. Wish you the best of luck, folks. It is How to Get Away with Murder on ABC. Catch episode 5 tonight. You don't want to miss it. He gave you a little hint of Frank's relationship stuff. It's going to become a little more clear. At least move forward a little bit, but you don't want to miss it. You're not going to find very many shows with the legal concept and having suspense and thrillers worked into it, and it's a great concept. And Charlie, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for fitting this into your schedule, bud.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.